All right, well, welcome everybody. We are excited that you're here with us tonight for this exciting 1-hour webinar event. It's going to be in two parts. We're going to talk about, at the very beginning, we're going to talk about the steps to improve your support system, the value of a support system. We're going to give you some secrets on how to accelerate your progress. And then in the second half of the webinar, we're going to talk about how to assist others to better health around you. And we're going to be doing a live interview with Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson, New York Times best-selling author, and he's going to be giving some of his best principles that were included inside of his New York Times bestseller, as well as his Dr. A's Habits of Health book and companion guide. So stay close to your computer. We've got some great information to share with you tonight. It'll come rapid fire. You will be muted during this particular presentation. Nobody can see you. You can see us, but we'd love to have questions or chat messages that come through that just maybe if you have a comment or a suggestion, or maybe you have been inside of our health games, or maybe you've been a client of our program and you'd like to share a little bit of your victory in building a healthy support system, please go ahead and feel free to comment or chat or ask a question. We'll try to get to as many of them as possible. I do have a dynamic group of panelists here with me this evening. I've got Jan Paxman, who's a nurse, as well as a certified health coach, Craig Blanchette, certified health coach and Olympic bronze medalist, and then I've also got Michelle DeFabio with us, and we're going to be interviewing Dr. A together, and we're going to be sharing some stories of success on how others have created a healthy support system. So let's go ahead and jump right into it and welcome you into Dr. A. Dr. A has some best-selling transformational tools and resources. Many of you have heard of his resources through the person that invited you. Maybe you're brand new and this is the first time you're being introduced to Dr. A. He's got a prolific career in history as a critical care physician. He was the 10th physician board certified in critical care, graduated #1 in his medical class, and over the last 15 years, he has been dedicating his life. And when I say dedicating, he is in the car tonight coming away from a very important meeting, and he wanted to be able to share his message tonight with all of you, so he made time in his schedule to get on his phone and his computer, his phone and the internet, to be able to share this message with you about how to build your healthy support system. So with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and welcome Dr. A to the webinar.
Well, David, thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here. I apologize if my reception comes and goes. Yeah, I'm here at our national headquarters, really working with the CEO to make sure we create an environment to help Americans create health in their life. So excited about joining tonight. For everybody that's listening, the thing I can tell you is that it's a matter of a decision. If you make the decision, you can become part of this journey that we're all on to create optimal health, to be as healthy as we can be, to put us in position to live a long, healthy life, and then to help the people around us. So, David, I'm excited about being here.
Great. Well, I'm going to throw up a poll really quick, and if everybody can just go and cast their vote. Looks like we got a little over 235 people on board with us so far. So go ahead and cast your vote. The question is, do you have a healthy support system and environment? And three choices. I've got a great support system and environment. I've got a few supportive people in my life, but I need improvement. And the final answer is I'm lacking support and feeling a little isolated. Go ahead and cast your vote, and we'll close up the poll in about 5 seconds. And while we're doing that vote in the poll, Dr. A, maybe you could jump in and just talk a little bit more about why you think that having a great support system is really the keystone to creating health in one's life.
Well, you know, what I can tell you is that for most people, we are the makeup of the 5 people we're the closest to, and the environment we're in helps determine our behavior. So what I found for most people is that if we're not around people or have access to people that are creating health in their life, that are making the right choices, it's very difficult for us to create long-term health. And there's studies that bear that out. In 2006, a New England Journal of Medicine study said that people that are obese, even if they're not next to each other, they influence each other and have a dramatic effect. So by being part of a group of people that are overweight or obese or unhealthy, then you have a tendency to become that yourself. So the key part is, obviously, we need to have the general knowledge. We need to understand, and you know, I've written now 3 books that are all about the path to optimal health. and then to give the support tools. But I really believe that having a health coach or being part of a group that's together working on it is the key area. In fact, without that, most people on their own aren't going to be successful. Because if you don't change the underlying environment, you're still going to be exposed to all the things that can create poor health in our lives.
Well, I know that so many people try to change their eating habits and their activity or their exercise habits, and maybe some of them are manipulating the sleep. But the idea of the support triangle, kind of holding all of those pieces together, is really critical for people to actually make significant progress and sustain it. Isn't that right?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, 68% of us are overweight or obese. That's 2/3 of us. And if when I go in and I look at patients or clients and really evaluate where they are in the key areas of well-being in their life, I find first in their physical life, usually those things are out of balance. They're either not sleeping well, they're not eating well, they're not moving enough, or maybe a combination of all of the above. And even if you're pretty good on one of them, if you're not good on all three, it'll have a deleterious effect on your overall health, directly related to your weight. When we don't sleep well, or we don't move, and we don't eat healthy, we're much more likely to be overweight or obese. The key part is when you bring these into resonance, when you learn the habits of health, when you start focusing on all three independent of each other, you actually, because they are dependent on each other, you'll actually start to see gains in all the key areas. So that's what we're about, is providing that support. And at the center of that, if you're willing to do those, you can dramatically alter your health pretty quickly. You know, people try to go on diets. They're diet enthusiasts or exercise enthusiasts, but unless you address those three fundamentals, and the fourth one that's not in that triad, but is that if you don't have a stress reduction, if you're allowing your emotions to kind of carry you through the day and stress you out, you're also going to be in poor shape. So like you put here, David, the people that you surround yourself with are more important than anything else in whether you're going to be fundamentally moving towards this new path towards optimal health, or whether you're going to continue to move south, which is almost like you have a battery in your cell phone that's starting to discharge yourself and you're losing that vital energy.
Great.
Hey, Dr. A, good evening. Thank you for being here. This is Michelle. I've got a question for you that's popped up from our viewers, and concerning the power of association. So if we're going to fall into that world of the closest 5 people, what if the closest 5 people aren't the healthiest people for us? What's a way that we can encourage them to go out and build that structure for themselves?
Well, that's a great example, and so what I always this is a great question. I get this question fairly often. It starts with you, and if you make the decision, it's not that you all of a sudden abandon the people around you, but what you may have to do in the beginning is just find support. Either find a community of support, such as a focus group, health coach to help you. One of the great things about what we do is we create the optimal health community, where we bring people together where they can virtually go on and then be supported. So by getting on the calls, being part of these Zooms, being part of the system, we've actually created an environment where you may still be in a micro environment of people that are not yet focused on their health, but you now have your own support. And then what I find is over time that that spouses will come along. They'll, many of our coaches. Whoa! Sorry about that. We almost had a front end collision, which we had a double warning on that, but. Anyway, so here's the somebody stopped in the middle of the road on the interstate, which is not a good thing. Okay, so anyway, but the key part is for people to realize that by having this support system, you can start to change your behavior, which will be contagious and start changing the people around you. And I'll make the analogy. If it's kind of like if you're deciding you're going to eat healthier, then one of the first things you'll do is go into your pantry and throw out all the processed food, all the sugary things, all the floury and refined flour and stuff. The same thing with what you may have to do. You may have to back off a little bit on attending tailgates where they're serving beer and chicken wings. But basically, once you start on this, you'll find that most people desire to become healthy. and over time they'll start to join you. So it's really a matter of, if you don't have people to help you, then that's what we do. We provide a community where you can get that kind of help.
Great.
Great. Thank you, Dr. A.
You're welcome.
So next up, Dr. A, we talked about the 3 steps to mastery, and you talk about this idea of studying, doing, and then modeling. Can you walk us through why that's such a valuable process?
Yeah, well, I think it's important first that we have the knowledge. We need to know. We need to know what's important. But unfortunately, what's happened in this world, we have so much information that's only partially true. So one of the things that I tried to do starting in 2008 was when I released The Habits of Health. I tried to go through the literature and really focus on what are the key elements in what you eat, how you move, how you sleep, how you handle stress, what you put in your body as far as vitamin nutrient support, and how do you create optimal health and longevity. And I tried to look and make sure that everything we put was in order. It was part of a system. It was tied together, and it actually was based on science. So that was the first part. So the knowledge, by putting the knowledge in one place, it makes it easier. People don't have a time to go read 50 articles, so I did that work for them. The second part is doing. The doing is critical because you can be knowledgeable. I think we all know we need to eat better. We all know that we probably should eat less sugar, but until we start actuating it, it's really not going to become a reality. So one of the things about that is creating the micro environments of micro habits of health. And what I mean by that is little baby things, little steps we can make that start to build on each other. So, you might be sitting on the couch now and not exercising at all, but maybe just by getting up and, walking, at your occupation, walking down to the further restroom when you have to use the restroom, walking to the water fountain on the different floor, taking the steps rather than the elevator. Little things that we can start to build on make the difference. And the third part is having role models. It's having people that are now living that way, that are there for you to provide the support so you can really model them. Because I mentioned, we kind of indirectly, subliminally, we actually model the people who are around. So if you pick, it's just like if you want to mentor somebody, become a pianist, then you'd find a mentor a coach to help you practice, and then you'd find someone that's a better pianist than you to hang around and play with. So that's the same thing with our health and our well-being. It's about first understanding what are the basics. Second is start to do it. And the third part is having some role models to help you.
Great. Jan, did you have a question from the audience?
Yes, I did. Dr. A, so there's someone here who's concerned because they really want to, they've studied this information, they want to do it, but they're concerned because they've had failures in the past and they're afraid of what other people are going to think of them if they announce that they have this new program they want to do. What would you say to those who've had some challenges in the past that really want to go forward but aren't sure how to do that? Yeah,
no, I love that. And it's interesting because I just finished a book with Robert Fritz called Identity. And it's about our story, it's about our narrative, it's about the things that we identify with. And one of the things, unfortunately, and what I hear this person that's responding, is they have a story. And in the story, there's considerable failure where they tried and then failed. So that's the first part. The second part is that they're concerned what people will think. And I can tell you that the first part is to really come inside your heart and say, you know what, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm ready to change my health. That's the first part, and make the decision. And I wouldn't worry what any other person thinks about, because the bottom line, or what you think even about yourself, about the risk of failing. Because the life-building process is when we take the emphasis off of us as the creator of our health and our life and put it onto the creation, which is to create radiant health, healthy weight, and optimal health. So that may sound simple, but it's really profound. So while I'm saying that, if you want to create health in your life, make the decision, and then just start taking one step at a time. And I love, because the way we set this up, a potential person that wants to get healthy, they're going to get a coach, they're going to get the tools, they're going to get an environment of like-minded people that care about each other, and together they can move forward and create long-term health. And the good news is, when you're with someone that we're focusing on what you're creating, not what we're moving away from, but we're actually creating, that's how you start on the path towards optimal health. And there's going to be times when you may falter a little bit, but it's not. It's okay. It's okay. In fact, the idea is with this growth mindset that now I'm focused and I'm gonna, you know, what you would say is that I'm, whatever happens, hell or high water, I'm going to get this done. And then just stay with it. And that's what's neat about having the support that David was asking me about earlier. Once you have the support and someone there that's kind of your cheerleader or your drill sergeant or whatever you need, in baby steps, you will make progression. And yeah, you may make 3 steps forward and 1 step back, but you're still moving forward. And the great news, it's not about beating yourself up and trying to be perfect. Because you know what? You're not going to be perfect. It's very difficult to do everything right in this world. And especially if you've had a lifetime of building habits which haven't supported your long-term health, we're going to start changing that. We're going to help you in small baby steps, start changing the trajectory of your health and your life and move you forward.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. A.
You are welcome.
Dr. A, there's some people that are on this particular webinar and they are not familiar with Take Shape for Life, soon to be Optavia. Talk a little bit about the history of Take Shape for Life and the future of Optavia and Take Shape for Life.
Yeah, I'd love to, David. Thank you. That's a great question. So 15 years ago, I decided to move upstream. I was a critical care physician. I helped pioneer that specialty. Really thought I trained in a fellowship, one of the first ones in the country, and I was the 10th board certified critical care physician. And I thought, you know, I was going to go out and really help people. Well, over 20 years of really pulling people out of the river, resuscitating them, putting them back on the street, and then seeing them months later back in the river again, drowning, I decided to move upstream. And so for the last 15 years, we've been focusing on not how we create a product or give them something that they can take, but actually how could we create a system, a comprehensive approach to help people focus on progressing to create health in their life. And so the Take Shape for Life is literally about wherever you are. 70% of us are overweight or obese, but even if you're not, the first phase is reaching a healthy weight. Beyond that, it's learning to create sustainable. So unlike a diet where you get on a diet, stay on it, go off it, and gain your weight back, our whole goal and role is to create generative growth in terms of your overall health. So with that, what we do is we start with helping you lose weight, but at the same time, the coach will help you start to learn the habits of health, which are all the key areas to create long-term sustainable improvement in your health. And then beyond that, to bring you into an underlying structure, a microenvironment of health, our health community, where you now are around like-minded people so you can move forward. And beyond that, one of the key things is many of our clients and patients decide not only do they love what we're doing to help them, but they want to join us. And what's great about that, we're finding that that creating mental health and financial health is a key part of overall health. So what's neat about Take Shape for Life is that it allows you to have expression where you can start and pick and choose what you want, where you want to start, and then over time we have a selection, a menu, or a buffet that you can continue to grow with. So that's cool. And what's happening now, Optavia, in fact, the meeting I was just at this evening was about that. It's about the growth of Take Shape for Life into a world-class organization. And I was sitting at dinner next to Dan Chard, our new CEO, who comes from our industry. We just hired some people that can really help us beyond that, and we had a great discussion about how we move forward and create long-term health and really move out of the shadows of our parent company as a weight loss company and truly become our own entity as Optavia, as an optimal health and well-being company. So I've never been more excited. Lori and I, as we were getting in the car leaving the meeting, we were just saying is that this is the most exciting time because this is the time where we're going to become a huge expression of a new way for people to conduct themselves in terms of their health and in terms of their, in fact, in terms of business as well. So pretty excited about that, David.
Great. So you have this stop, challenge, choose principle inside of your book in chapter 19 of the Habits of Health book. And one of the things we're just going to challenge everybody that's on right now, if you are looking to create a healthier support system, I mean, you may be doing okay right now, but maybe you're looking down the road and you're saying, I don't know what the future holds. And I'd like to just explore the opportunity of what it means to be a part of what Take Shape for Life and Optavia are doing. Stop and just schedule a health coaching session. Message the person that invited you to this presentation and challenge yourself to expand your support team. And that may mean having a coach. It may mean being a part of one of our health challenges or being a part of our healthy community. We're not here to sell you things. We're just simply here to share what we've experienced in terms of improving our own health and invite you to do the same. And if it serves you in your best interest to do so, we'd love to have you reach out to the person that invited you to this webinar and ask them how you can end up being a part of our community and learn more about our health coaching program. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to move the conversation and the presentation to the topic of why people decide to pay it forward. Many people have decided to actually share health with other people, but Dr. A, if you could address the issue of why people have decided to actually take that next step and assume more of a leadership role in terms of coaching another person to better health. Would you share a little bit on that?
Absolutely. One of the key areas in our development, moving from being a kid to being an adult and then moving on in our lives, is called adult maturity. It's about realizing that beyond our self-interest, the common good, really helping other people is a key part of what connects us as humans. And what I found is so many people start on the journey themselves, and they start healing themselves from the inside, and then they want to share. They want to relate. They're so excited about how their health is improving. They want to share it with other people. And so what we found is they pay it forward and become a coach. Several things happen. First, brings meaning and purpose. Many people are working at an occupation or a job where there's not a lot of meaning, or it doesn't really give them a lot of psychological that they feel fulfilled. So that's the first thing. We actually, by helping other people on this journey and taking them by the hand, it's really good. And it's actually, in a little bit, it's for your own self-interest, because by helping others, it helps you, because you become better, becomes more of your daily routine, and then you become better at helping your own health for the first thing. The second thing about becoming and paying it forward, it's the opportunity to start taking control of your own life beyond just your health. It's the opportunity to start doing something that not just brings meaning and purpose, but actually as a health coach can put you in a position to start being in control of your own future finances. And our health coaches are paid very well for helping people. And each time they help someone else get healthier, get on the program, they are actually compensated for that. And we compensate them for coaching them towards success. And what's great about that, the coaching is really being supported. You don't have to, have a degree in health or in nutrition or in exercise. It's really about caring for others, and then the system, just like our clients find out, the system takes care of itself. So what's neat about it is you can actually become part of a system where you can help other people become successful. And what's great about that, what we find is we build people in terms of mentoring them. So over time, and at their speed, they can set the pace, and we give them the course, and then we can move them forward to not just be health coaches, but also help build other health coaches, which can lead to financial freedom for so many, David.
That's great. Well, I know that a lot of people are already in their mind, they're thinking, well, I don't want to sell something, or I don't want to be a salesperson. I've never been good at that, or something of that nature. And you use the analogy of giving health and sharing and caring for people. And I know that these are actually people that we're showing on the screen are actually people that you've given health to in some way, shape, or form through the different people that have gone through the Take Shape for Life and Optavia program. Talk a little bit more about that difference between sharing and caring and giving versus selling and promoting a particular product or service.
Well, that's a big one for me. I really have, some people are naturally good salespeople. I personally am terrible. I remember in college one summer I tried for one day with my best friend to sell Cutco cutlery, and I went and knocked at one door, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't try to sit there and spin people or try to sell them on buying some knives. But what we're doing is something very different, and I absolutely, hopefully, exudes the passion of what I feel for this. And what it really comes down to is really finding out what we do is we take a very different approach. I like to call it an empathetic approach, which means we're really there to help awaken people and to find out what's important to them. So it starts there. We ask lots of questions. We don't sit there and try to pitch people on stuff. We try to find out more about what people want in their lives, and then potentially show them, once we awaken them, that this might be something that can help them. And what I always say to our coaches, especially the new ones that may, or the ones that are thinking about becoming coaches, I like to tell them is, you know what, if you touch another human and they actually decide to become a client or a coach of Take Shape for Life, the value you're giving them is much more than any value that you're getting from the company or compensation you're getting from the company. And that is so true, because we touch people, we change their weight, we change their health, we change their life, we bring fun back into their lives, and it's such a gift. And so we totally respect that. At a time when, you know, you answer your phone and everyone's trying to sell you something through computers, we take a very different approach, and we're really proud of it, because as you said earlier, we're not about selling and telling. We're really about just sharing and caring how we've changed our own lives through these rich, vibrant stories, and through how we can help other people if they choose, and if they don't, we respect that. But it's you know, it's so far from sales, and we're not selling products. We're actually asking people if they want to improve their health, that we'd like to help them. Now, there is a transactional part of it. Yeah, they end up buying the fuelings, and the fuelings help move them on their journey towards reaching a healthy weight. But the coaching you give them is for free, and the support we give them, the community, it's all for free. So it's such a value-added proposition that I'm really proud, because at a time when it seems like everybody has an agenda, we have an agenda that is actually to help people create health in their life.
That's a great answer. And what about support? Because a lot of people are nervous about stepping forward and thinking that they need to finish their journey or they need to have more training. What kind of support can they depend upon if they were to raise their hand and say, I want to pay it forward. I want to help other people with their journey while I'm on my journey?
Well, actually, that's one of the great parts, is that, you know, what I always say is you just have to be one step ahead. So it doesn't matter where you are. I highly encourage people that this sounds interesting to them to become coaches, because we believe in a concept called team coaching. And when you become a coach, you have a whole team of people that are there to help you. And they're willing to reach out. And as long as you're willing to do the work, they're willing to work with you, you know, talk to people with you, give you mentorship, give you skills, and they'll be with you every step of the way. In fact, the way we designed it, unlike corporations, people, our coaches, as they sponsor a new coach, the only way they're compensated by the company is when they actually help their coach be successful. So that's what's so great about it. So everybody works together. And it's a powerful, powerful piece. And I actually find that people that become coaches, within once they've started their journey, within a few weeks, they do great. And it's really just a matter of, and if someone's ready to become a coach and just get started, they can do that too. It really matters on where's your central focus first. If your central focus is you have a lot of weight to lose and you want to just start with getting on the program, that's okay. But we have many, many coaches that had over 200 pounds to lose that got on the program, became coaches, and now over time have reached a healthy weight, and now they have a huge, huge business with many, many coaches that they're mentoring. So that's one thing I wouldn't worry about. I would always obviously start right where you feel. If you feel like doing both at the same time, great. If you feel like going and starting on the program and then waiting a little while, that's okay. So all that works, Dave.
That's fantastic. And I know I just brought up this question because this is oftentimes an issue for people, is that they think that a coach or somebody that's actually helping another person has everything already figured out. And you just addressed that and said, you can start on your journey right now using team coaching and a supportive community to help you move forward while you're helping somebody else.
Actually, it's more probably, David, it's so important because, as you, again, going back to understand, do, and role model, as you understand and start becoming a coach. And by the way, the beginning of health coaching, as soon as you've taken your first fueling and started your first day as a client, you're now one day ahead of the people you're going to bring in. So it's actually that simple. The whole idea, I want to make sure that everybody realizes how simple. Again, you are not teaching the habits of health. The habits of health is a system. You are not creating the feelings. The feelings are part of the system. You're not creating the culture. The culture is part of the system. What you are is now an instrument to awaken other people, create interest, and then be there to support them within the comprehensive approach we have, which makes it so powerful because everybody can work together. And collectively, what you're doing is, as you start, like you asked the question earlier, if you don't have a support group around you, if the people around you aren't interested in your health, the great thing is you can become a coach and have 4 or 5 clients, and then you're working with them, and then you've created your support network around you. So that's what's so beautiful about this. It's really about the synergism of the relational part of people working together to create health and well-being for themselves.
Dr. A, I know that time is something that's very precious to you. What would you say to a person that says, I just don't have the time to do it?
Well, again, that's interesting because everybody has the same 24 hours in the day. It's a matter of what's important to you. And what I find is this, and where I always start with this, is I always start with, where are you in your life? I mean, are you at the point where you feel like you're on a path to create health in your life? Are you on a path where you're bringing meaning and purpose, and you feel mentally that your life is really on a trajectory where you're going to bring great well-being? And the third part, where are you in terms of your finances? Because, if you really are like most Americans, well, 67% or 68% are overweight or obese. Less than 20% of people like what they do for a living. And many people, 50%, have a form of clinical depression sometimes during their life, and the quality of their life isn't where they'd like it to be. So the first question I would ask before I ask, do I have time? Do I not have time? Because here's the deal. If what you're doing in your life isn't taking you where you want to, that's what we do. So, you can start off working as less as 5 hours, maybe stop watching as many TV shows at night. As less as 5 hours a week, you can start this business. And then what I always say, give us what you can right now. And then what I find is people start realizing how much fun, how they see their health changing, and how they start making money. They start thinking, wow, this is real. This is a real thing. This is not those Saturday morning infomercials. This is not this thing you read about get rich quick scheme. This is about a real life change in how you can create health and well-being and financially create a business where you're supported by a group and make a difference. So what I find is as little as 5 hours you can get started. And then if you work well with your coach, you'll see that you'll want to give more time, and then you'll start seeing you're on a trajectory. We call it the trilogy of optimal health because your physical, mental, and financial health are all part of the same system that creates overall well-being. And I can tell you that nobody's busier than I am. I have a pretty busy schedule, and I find time to do the things that are important. And the important things are actually, for me, it revolves around Take Shape for Life, soon to be Optavia, because I find that it's what brings me the most physical health, brings me great joy and great fulfillment, and puts ourselves financially in position where I'm able to, take care of my kids, put them in the best schools. I have the time to go on vacation to the places we want, and not have to worry about financial dysfunction in our health and in our life. So I would say that the time factor is really a matter of where you're putting your priorities.
Great. Well, I'm going to throw it over to Jan Paxman because she is a nurse, coach, wife, mother, and Jane of all trades, a Jan of all trades. And so she's going to talk a little bit more about how she decided to become a coach. Jan?
Oh, thank you, David. Well, just really quickly here, we were blessed with that little guy, in the little orange jacket there on the right. He came kind of later on in my life, and I put on 50 pounds with him, and I couldn't get it off. And I struggled with that. I didn't have energy. I had, these are just a few of our kids here. We've got 3 more that are not even in the picture. So we have a large family, a blended family. And I was struggling to, keep it up. And then this program was introduced to me through my coach, and I decided to check it out, make sure it was a healthy program. I was so impressed by what I learned. And as I implemented it into my life, I could not believe how great I felt. I had suffered with chronic headaches and other things too. And as the weight started coming off, those things kind of dissipated out as well. And I found that I was feeling younger than I had in years, and I had great energy. So I couldn't help but share this with people. But my problem was, time restraints. And so that little guy took a nap every day, or a couple of them at first. And when I started coaching, I would just do it when he was sleeping. You know, I would go in and make a few phone calls and share with some people and then follow up with people and serve them. And it was so rewarding because I felt like I needed that interaction with other adults, and serving others was a very important part to it for me. But I was able to fit it in the little nooks and crannies of life. And then, you know, as he got older and started having, you know, less nap time, I had to be creative with that. But, you know, because I just have been consistent with it, small, simple steps consistently over the years, it has been so very, very rewarding as I've seen people's lives change. Oh my goodness, I can't even tell you. I mean, that's like, I've been a nurse for many, many years, and this has been more rewarding in that way than I ever experienced working on a floor in a hospital. You know, I love the profession, but it was a whole different, like, really, I was helping someone create health here, not just masking symptoms, not just covering up, you know, the disease underlying it. This was amazing. And so for my family, it's been a huge blessing. And, you know, we've been able to create some health in our family as well with it that I couldn't have imagined otherwise, and had some real dreams come true, which has been a blessing all the way around. So I just am so grateful for my coach and my support system that helped me to learn about this program in the beginning so that I could pay it forward and serve others.
That's great. And I know that some people are thinking, you know, Jan's a healthcare professional, and so obviously it would just come easy for her. But I want to share another story with you, who also didn't have a weight loss story. And so if maybe you have, you know, been a challenger with us, or you are just joining us and you don't have any weight to lose, and you're wondering, well, you know, can I actually coach people to lose weight or to get healthy if I haven't had a weight loss story? And I'm going to introduce Michelle back in and have her share a little bit more about her story. Michelle?
Thank you, David. You know, I always joke with people when I'm working with them that I lost 180 pounds, because what I came into becoming to learn a health coach to do was to lose my boss. I desperately wanted to be home with those kids, and I wanted to raise our kids, and I found that I didn't have enough time. And I know everybody has the same amount of time, but what I mean by that is every minute I had, we were working and we were doing extra work and we were trying to create more income. And all it was doing was tearing our family apart a little bit because we didn't have any time together. And when we sat down and talked about what did we want most, well, we wanted time to be involved with our kids' lives, and we wanted time to help other people. And so when we heard what this career of being a health coach could be like, I thought, wow, it almost feels like getting paid to volunteer and support people. Something that I would love to do, but I don't have time to do it. So I learned as I went. I learned the program, and then we reached out and we helped Michael's mom, and then we helped my dad, and then we just naturally had people that said, oh my gosh, can you help me too? And I was teaching kindergarten and had 2 little kids, and found those little nuggets of time to reach out and support my clients and help them move through to their goals. And then their friends would call me and say, hey, I saw my friend and she said I should call you. And that's just how I ended up on the bus stop corner drinking my coffee, waving at the kids on the bus instead of missing their first day of school every single year. So to me, this has been a huge blessing. I came into it with a master's in teaching kindergarten, but no idea of anything about nutrition, anything about supporting people. And thankfully, with the health coach kit, everything and all the support, and you learn as you go. You don't need to know anything when you get started. You just need to be kind of in that mindset of, I would like to help others, right? If that's something you're thinking, I'd love to help others, and I'd love to have time freedom and be able to call the shots in your own life, maybe not have to ask for the day off or ask permission to go to your child's special event, and actually be in control of what your days look like, then this might be something to talk to the person that invited you tonight.
That's great. Thank you, Michelle. And I know that a lot of people out there are still in the questioning mindset right now, and they just are kind of thinking through, you know, who could I potentially help? And I'm going to bring Dr. A back in here and have him address the question or the concern about, I don't know very many people. I mean, how can I ever be successful at coaching other people if I just don't have a large sphere of influence or a large group of people that I could reach out to? Dr. A, what would you say to that person?
Well, you know, one key part of this business is you have to like people. I don't, not necessarily you have to know a lot of people, but you have to care about people, because that's what we do. We actually reach out and help people. So it really comes down to motivation. What gets people to change their lives is motivation, and it's the proper motivation. It's not conflict driven. It's driven by a desire to improve. So what I can tell you is there's 311 million Americans. 210 million Americans are overweight. Basically, about 280 million Americans don't like their job. Less than 5%, or about 10 million Americans, are actually optimally healthy. So there's a huge sea of humanity, of people you come in contact with every day. Whether you come in contact with them by being out shopping, at the mall, being at your workout, whether you're on social media, which becomes in itself an amazing world of people and socialization. But there's lots of ways to contact people, even if you don't know anybody. So it really comes down to desire. There's no reason for you to become a health coach if you're not going to talk to anybody, if you're not really interested, because that's what health coaching is about. It's about creating interest with people and having them then decide to join you, and you guys create health together. So I think it's really important. It doesn't matter that you don't know very many people, but it's that you just have a desire. It's kind of like, if you're in a neighborhood and you go to the car dealer and you buy a red Mustang, what you'll find is when you come home back into your neighborhood that you see 3 or 4 red Mustangs. You never noticed those Mustangs before, but now you see them because now you have one. It's the same thing here. If you make the decision that you want to create health in your life, or that you're interested in creating well-being, which would include bringing more meaning and purpose, or potentially becoming a health coach to make some extra income and improve your financial health as well as your mental health and your physical health, then you'll find that suddenly you'll be more interested in looking at people and seeing if you can help them. So it really isn't a matter of how many people you know, but the desire that you do want to help people. And the great thing is, as Michelle was saying, when you start off, you don't have to know anything. Your coach, your mentors, your business coach are going to help you. They're going to help you put together the people you know. They're going to help talk to people with you. They're going to get on 3-way calls with you. This thing you're on tonight called Zoom technology is an amazing blessing for us, because it allows us, in this crazy busy world we live in, allows us to connect our clients and potential clients with our coaches and our business coaches. So it all works together in creating a culture where people are interested. So we'll help you learn. We have great trainings. We have great mentorship. And if you have a great desire to improve your life and potentially do something that can bring fun back into life, then don't worry about how many people you know. We'll help you with that.
That's great. And as we wrap up tonight, if you're thinking about how do I get started in helping other people, the path that I took personally is that I experienced the program. And if you're in a position where you would like to take the next step, having an experience in the program can oftentimes develop a good story. You don't have to necessarily go through a weight loss process to experience the program, but having a coach that's actually contacting you and helping you to clarify goals and helping you to work through the process can really help you to define your own personal story with having a coach, going through the Habits of Health book, and really learning how to optimize your health. And if you are just getting started on your journey, your coach will end up helping you to educate others on the program once you just simply share your story with them. So it's not very difficult to start off in this process. And for those people who are interested and ready to get started, your team of coaching support, your mentorship team will help you to enroll those people in the program, and then they'll show you the steps on how you can encourage them to stay connected into this wonderful, vibrant community of support. And then based on your decision, you can decide to expand your practice to thrive in a life that is very abundant and very free. If you'd like that freedom and flexibility, then you can choose to help more people, and that's how we thrive and take shape for life in Optavia, is to help more people to get healthy. So as we wrap up tonight, I just want to say thank you to everybody that joined in with us. Thank you to Michelle and to Craig and to Jan and to Dr. A for joining in on his drive home. Thanks for fitting this in. I know you have an extremely busy schedule, and it was our pleasure to have you join in with us here tonight.
Well, thanks, David. And I'd like to leave everybody with one thing. If in your life, if you desire to be healthier, then go for it. The nice thing is, one of the questions early on was, well, I don't know if I can do it. I've failed in the past. Well, I can tell you that this is not a thing outside of you that will help you change. It is actually inside of you, and it's simply about making that decision and then deciding that, you know what, I do want to improve my health. And we've got a great culture that's there to reach out our hand and help you do that. So thanks, David, for having me. And for all of you on the call tonight, God bless, and let's go out and get America healthy.